So good morning, good morning, good morning. Listen, my name is Kenesha Berry. I am with Berry Thoughtful Life Coaching, and I focus on helping couples have better relationships simply because relationships is the cornerstone to everything that you do. And so this morning I want to talk about the 5 issues or challenges that most people face in their relationship, particularly in their marriage. So the first challenge, and this is what's so interesting, is like I taught classes, I've been to workshops, I've been to seminars where I'm like literally at the seminar, not necessarily teaching it, but whenever you ask people, what is the biggest issue in your marriage? What is the biggest issue in your relationship? They always say communication. Communication, communication, communication. And you want to think, why is it so hard to communicate? What is the biggest issue in communicating? And I believe like the biggest issue in communicating is that we haven't learned how to listen without hearing through our filter of what I call our invisible space. And so, therefore, we are not always responding to what's been said to us. We are responding to the emotion or the false belief that we have about ourselves that the person says that make us think they just attacked us. So, whenever couples tell me that they're having issues with communication, instead of going to the communication tactics, yes, we talk about active listening. We talk about um, making sure that you like repeat what a person says. I teach those strategies, but I go deeper because I understand that until a person understands their deepest need and understand their biggest soul wound, that they're communicating is at war with those two things. So, the biggest problem, one of the greatest problems in relationships is communication. And the reason, like communication, if you're not doing that well, you're creating assumptions, it's building resentment because you feel like you can't resolve issues in calm situations. Then there are certain times or certain things that you talk about that are what I call hot buttons. Like anytime you bring up this topic, you know it's going to lead to an argument. So therefore you avoid going to that topic. Why is communicating so difficult in relationships? Listen, I can't even explain to you on this video how to overcome that. But what I can tell you is it's deeper than you think, but it's not as hard or challenging as you think. You can learn to communicate more effectively, and it's going to start with you understanding a deeper part of you so that you can stop listening and hearing things in your filter of your invisible space and really start hearing what people are saying. Stop taking everything so personal. The second thing that is a huge challenge in marriages is intimacy. Now, we live in a culture that the moment someone says intimacy, our mind immediately goes to sex. Don't get me wrong, sex is a very important part. It is intimacy, but there is even deeper levels. It's the being heard, being seen, being feeling like you truly are connected to your partner. I believe that level of intimacy gets lost because of day to day, particularly if you're at certain stages in your marriage. If you're at that stage where the children are young, you're at that stage where everybody is like so focused on building for your future. Now everybody is a boss. Everybody is, you got to get the, get so much money. You got to make over 100,000. So when your focus becomes about everything except your partner and your marriage, then intimacy is one of the things that you lose in that marriage. And we want you to stay connected. I believe connection is one of the greatest things to help us build a healthy and inspiring and encouraging marriage and a place to come home to that feels good and safe. And so that the intimacy of feeling connected, the intimacy of feeling heard and seen creates the intimacy for beautiful, wonderful lovemaking. So if that is an issue in your marriage, I want you to start doing little things, believe it or not, little things like you'll be amazed at how far a hug can help you get connected because there's something special about touching, holding hands, um, being intentional about looking in each other's eyes. I want you to think about it. When is the last time you really spoke with your partner and looked into their eyes? because we are so busy all the time. Like these phones, we're on our phones, we're talking, we're multitasking, but we are not giving attention to our spouse in the way they need it. And the third issues that is a huge issue that's causing major challenges in marriages and relationships is the money issue. And I find that the money issue a lot of times is the red button issue. It's the hot button issue that we haven't learned how to communicate. So it all loops back around about money because we all have like our different identities. Go back and watch my video. I think I did it yesterday or the day before yesterday, where I talk about the money personalities. Go back and watch that video because, like, if you're an otter, then you are a free spirit. You want to just go out and spend. But if you are a lion, you are the type where you want structure and you want to save and know where every little dollar is. And so, if you are in relationship with a person and your money language is so extremely different, you haven't maybe learned or even know that there's a way that you can learn to talk about money without it being a big blow up. And so, as long as those issues stay issues, that's a topic that you will avoid. And I understand that topic because Andre and I was married a lot of years before we could literally talk about money without it being an emotional, reared up issue. But we had to learn, and you can learn too. The fourth thing that really causes issues in marriages is parenting. How are we going to parent these children, right? Um, Coming from different backgrounds. When we lived abroad, I would often get asked the question, how do couples of different cultures uh, work things out, right? And people would assume because they was from like the wife may have been from China and the husband from South Africa, that these cultures were the problem. But I said, no, you could be from across the street of the same race, culture, background, but you could be next door to each other and you're still going to have two different cultures when it comes to how to raise children. Simply because the way you were raised, the way you were brought up, the way your parents did things, we will take on this belief that the way our family do a thing is the right way. And the way everyone else do things is the wrong way. And so if our spouse way of doing a thing is so extremely different from the way our parents did it, we get locked into the right way and the wrong way instead of recognizing, hey guys, we need to sit down and decide on what is going to be the way that works for us. And maybe be willing to be a little flexible about not necessarily doing it the exact same way your parents did it. Right. And because of that, when it comes to raising children, that becomes a major issue because we can get into marriage excited about having a family, but never discuss how we're going to raise them, what are our values. If you want to get to a commonality on how to raise your children, begin to talk to each other about what do you value. And don't stop at, well, we value family. No, go deeper. Do you value um, integrity? Like, is that a big thing in your family? Do you value honesty? Do you value work? Do you value um, I'm trying to go through in my mind that there's an extremely long list of values. Do you value ambition? So you need to start talking about, as a family, as a couple, what do you value and what do you want the children to know about you and your values? Because I promise you, if your children understand what you value, then they can carry out your values. But if you just move from this place of rules and regulations and you do what I say and that kind of thing, it's just going to create chaos and clashing in your family. And that's going to create this distance and uh, separation. And you don't want that. You want to be able to parent well, but figure out what well is individually and then come together. And remember, just because it's not the way mom and dad did it or my family did it, doesn't make it wrong. It just gives you a new opportunity to do something differently. And don't, please, a lot of times people now, we have blended families. Like Andre and I are definitely a blended family. Praise God. We're past all of that because Demarcus, our oldest, is in his 30s and he have grandbabies. Like he have children, so we have grandbabies. So we're past all of that. But recognize that don't attack each other children because they're not from like, you know what I mean? Like, don't I don't particularly like, this is me going off on a tangent. If you can, remove the ideal of stepchildren from your vocabulary. There are no steps in the family. I always call DeMarcus my bonus baby, and he really did feel like a bonus. Like, I got to have this beautiful little boy come into my world, and I didn't have to give birth to him, but I got to love on him, kiss on him, and I was able to find out what did his parents desire, and then live out that when he was with us. Um, and so those are some of the things. Now that I got it perfect, there was certainly times when me and his mom clashed, but my goal was to always lean to what do your parents desire for you. And when you're with us, when you're with me, your dad, how can I help you live that out? The funniest thing was that when DeMarcus was a teenager, he was blessed that his mom could stay at home, and I was a working mom. So I came home one day, and DeMarcus says, "Kenesha, I am so hungry. I'm starving." I said, "You're not too hungry. You didn't find anything to eat." He says, "I need you to cook." I said, "No, sir. I'll have to cook, teach you how to cook." And the fact that you have all this food in the house that we purchased so that you can easily cook, like microwavable food and cereal, and you've been hungry all day, we got to teach you how to cook. But those like little things like that would come up, but you don't have to attack each other to figure that out in your parenting. Just remember, lead from love. Don't lead from being right. Lead from love. The last thing I want to talk about today that's really causing major challenges in relationships. And we don't think it is, but it's really the biggest issue, or one of the biggest issues, is past conflict. And here's the thing, the past conflict doesn't even have to be between you and your current spouse. It can be a past conflict that one of you guys have never resolved. And the energy of that conflict, the thoughts and the belief of that conflict, the hurt and pain of that conflict is showing up in your house. And so, there's a saying that if you're having a conversation with someone and the reaction is hysterical, like if it's big, I'm bowling, I'm fussing and I'm cursing, and you're thinking like, whoa, what did I say? I didn't say that much. Then that reaction is probably because of historical situation. So that means that if the reaction is bigger than the present moment, there's something in your past that needs to be addressed. And so if you can just start working on that, this is why I think everyone should have a therapist, a coach, a counselor, something, because we all have baggage from our past. And we think, well, that happened back then. It's no big deal. I let it go. You think you let it go, but it has not let you go. Whatever that hurt, pain, resentment, anger, sadness, disappointment, heartbreak that you think you left in the past because you like, just forget it. I ain't gonna think about it. You think you let it go, but it has not let you go. And the reason you know it hasn't let you go is because it's showing up in your current situation. So if you want to move forward, you got to heal and address those issues so that it doesn't keep showing up in your current marriage or relationship. Listen, I pray that you are blessed by this topic today. I pray that you can recognize that these are some challenges that maybe you're facing, and then begin to apply wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, biblical principles to these situations, into these areas, so that you can have a happy, lasting, peaceful, joyful marriage, right? Because who wants to be married for the sake of being married? Let's be married and have a good time and laugh and have joy and have pleasure in your marriage. Be that marriage. Don't be the old couple that I remember being in a church one Sunday, and this pastor said that he wanted to congratulate this couple who had been married the longest. But then before he brought these two people up, he said, "Now listen, I need y'all to act nice. I need y'all to act right." Like, he began to set up all these preferences on how this couple should act and behave in front of everybody. And I thought, sir, maybe this isn't a marriage that you want to acknowledge in front of a lot of people if you are concerned that these two people are going to pop off. In front of the entire congregation. And literally, when it was time to take the picture, the wife would not smile. She would not let her husband hug her and touch her. You don't want to be married like that just for the sake of saying you've been married for 30 years. and you don't like your spouse. You don't have to do it that way. There is an option to heal and get help. So join me on November 17th as I start my new class, Think Your Way to a Better Marriage. Go to my website, verythoughtfullife.com. The link is in the description somewhere, depending on when you watch it. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share these videos. Have an amazing day and have an even better marriage. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.